Peace, peace. What is going on, world? Welcome to another Substantial Weekly. My name is Substantial. Hope all is well, man. Different setup again this week. Normally I would be in the studio, but today I had to switch locations just to hold things down and make sure we still jumped on time. Yeah. So peace to everybody in the chat so far. Peace to folks watching on different platforms as well. Shout out to those of you watching right now on YouTube. Shout out to those of you watching on Twitch and also on Facebook, man. Peace to everybody. Peace, Don. PC Cruz. It was great seeing you at the show last week, brother. Thanks for supporting. Nice afro. Peace to you. All right. Boogie Mid. Peace to you. And peace, Tommy Hackett. What's going on, man? Thank y'all for joining us on YouTube. And yeah, man, shout out once again to everybody watching on different platforms. Let me see something because just want to make sure something updated correctly. Okay, so today's episode, just so y'all know, is going to be mostly Q&A, but I do have some updates for y'all for upcoming events. I'm just checking that. Yep. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure Mike and all of that was good. Don said you should come to the Netherlands. Would love to come back. It's been a while since I've been there. I haven't been out there since 2017. And my first time performing out there was, I think, like 08 or 09, something like that, when I was on tour with Cunning Linguist. Shout out to No, shout out to Deacon, shout out to Natty as well, man. Shout out to my Q15 fam. Man, I appreciate that. Never know what the future holds. So definitely glad to still be rocking. Quintus King, peace to you, fam. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, man, I'm gonna jump into some updates real quick. First and foremost, quick reminder: next week is Bandcamp Friday. So next week I do have some stuff lined up. It's mostly gonna be merch things. Things are still kind of running a little bit behind with Adultish 2.0 with the remixes, partly because I'm still trying to finish writing these, at least finish one of these exclusive tracks. I wanted to have two, but it might just end up being one for the sake of time. I can always put out another track, you know what I mean, at a later date. But yeah, man, definitely. There's, as I mentioned last week, it's been a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, good things, but things that have been kind of taking me away from the creative side of things and more on the administrative side, just trying to put certain things in motion. And, I don't have this large team surrounding me and stuff. I got a few homies, and, a few cool folks I'm cool with who I pay from time to time. And of course, my business partner / wife helps out. But yeah, just trying to take care of the day-to-day stuff outside of the creative. It's definitely been making things move a bit slower than normal. That mixed with the traveling too. But yeah, didn't know you back then. Would love to see it one day for sure. It's all good. It happens. The Nuja Best know who J Dilla was during his lifetime. Of course, yeah. Just for those of you who aren't as familiar with J Dilla as you are maybe with Nuja Best, J Dilla has been at this since the '90s, and so some of the tracks that people know from J Dilla. If you're an underground head, maybe you didn't listen to some of the mainstream Dilla joints as much, but like Dilla's had like mainstream hits, you know what I mean? And also has done some classics or whatever for underground stuff. But like a song like Running from the Far Side isn't just something that's beloved amongst indie heads. Like people who know mainstream hip hop from that particular era, and even some kids nowadays, depending on who their parents are, or depending on if they've watched something that's used that song. That's a song that a good amount of people who maybe don't know who Dilla is knows that song. So, Nuja Best and I would have conversations about Dilla from time to time because Dilla's been one of my favorites since the days of like the Ummah, when him, Q-Tip, and Ali Shaheed Muhammad were working together. I was introduced to Dilla stuff via Busta's first album. So obviously when I'm out there talking music with Nuja Best, we would have conversations about Dilla. So he was a fan for sure, I'm pretty sure he never thought, I won't say he never thought, so let me backtrack. I can't say I know for sure, but if he's anything like, if Jun thought anything like a lot of us think, it's like you hope someday that people mention you amongst the greats, but even when that happens, it's still kind of unbelievable. So I don't think that he foresaw like being mentioned as like in the same breath with Dilla. You know what I mean? Like with people calling him like the Japanese Dilla. I'm not sure if that's something he ever saw coming, but that's just kind of interesting how life goes sometimes, man. Blessings. Peace. What's going on, Warpath? Good to see you in here. Farside joins from '94. His De La Soul tracks 100%. Yeah, man, he's done some really, really notable tracks. He's produced hit records for Erykah Badu as well. You know what I mean? Remixes for Janet Jackson. So it's not just like this catalog of indie stuff. Like he had like major mainstream success as well. He also has a Grammy with Tribe Called Quest. An even better question would be if J Dilla knew Nuja Best. For sure, I feel like that's the question that I don't have the answer to. I know that I've talked to people in Dilla's camp, because what would have been Dilla's stepfather had he married Ma Dukes while Dilla was still alive. This guy named Tony. That's the homie. Like I know him from the DC hip hop scene and stuff like that, man. Super cool with him. And so through him and other people in the camp, and I've spoken with Ma Dukes, had the privilege of being able to speak to her. I met her, I think, twice. yeah, man, and I've had conversations with them about New Best, and one of the tributes that I got to be a part of in Baltimore, and one in DC. No, I think it was the Baltimore joint when I got to perform, do a cover of Running, with my homies Ab Rock, and who else was doing verses with it? It was me, Ab Rock, and damn, I can't remember who had the first verse. But anyway, my point is, at that particular show, that was like the first time I had a really in-depth conversation with people in the Dilla camp about Nujabes. Best. And from what I could tell, like they had heard the name, they had heard Jun's name a few times, but like, it was one of those things that it wasn't until like after he passed away, that they started to become familiar with who he was. So if I'm making an assumption based off of that information, the likelihood that Dilla knew who Jun was while he was still alive, is slim. Because keep in mind too, Dilla passed away. What year was that? It's like '06, if I'm not mistaken. So Jun had put out a couple albums then, and of course Samurai Champ Blue was out then. But at that point, most of the time, if I met someone stateside who knew who Jun was, it was because they spent time in Japan, or they were really, really digging. But it wasn't very common for me to come across people in the United States who knew who Nujabes Best was. You know what I mean? Just keeping it a buck, Or Common's Delight. Yeah, man. Common's like Water for Chocolate album. That album went gold. You know what I mean? And Dilla produced a good amount of tracks on there. So yeah, yeah, the coincidences between them were uncanny. Yeah, for sure. Yep, Dilla passed February 2006. I remember exactly where I was. They had announced it on Hot 97, and I was working for J.P. Morgan Chase, believe it or not, at the time, and I was working in their production department, running some prints and stuff. And then I heard the news, and I'm like, it's one of those moments that when someone passes who people around you, like at that particular moment, don't know, it's a very lonely experience. You know what I mean? Like you're really like something's hitting you, but there's no one in your immediate cipher at the time who is familiar like that. And so yeah, it wasn't a whole bunch of folks at the job I could talk to about who Dilla was. When I would make mention of certain songs he had done, they knew the songs more than they knew him. So that's how it goes. This morning was funny because I kept seeing your Reflection Eternal video pop up on my news feed on all your accounts, and had to keep heart reacting. Man, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Real quick, so let's recap real quick about the show from last week, man. So last week, performed in Brooklyn, New York. This was the debut of my band, outside of course, the vinyl stuff we had done. And man, yeah, it was a really, really great show. Shout out to Lizzie Blue. Shout out to AJ Rio. Shout out to Kofi Doncor. Shout out to Stephanie Gale. Yeah, man, we had a great time. It was a great crowd that came out, man. We had so much fun. Shout out to those of you who were in attendance, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it as much as we had a great time performing for y'all. And of course, man, it's always dope being in New York, seeing my old friends and stuff, who I went to college with or who I knew through the hip hop scene, poetry scenes, and all of that, man. But yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. The band sounds so good. Got us excited for doing more events. And we have a couple potential. We have some potential things lined up, and we will see how that stuff pans out. I should have more details soon. I'm going to give you some updates on upcoming shows. A lot of these shows is mostly going to be me and maybe a DJ. But at least one or two of these shows we're trying to incorporate the live band into. So I got to confirm schedules with everybody and keep y'all posted. But yeah, man, it's exciting to say the least, Let's go to the comments real quick. Tyler says, "Hey, hi Stan. God bless you. It's 2 days after my birthday. Happy belated born day to you. Salam, Harakat. Yeah. Oh, so someone you got to translate. You got to translate for me. Just wanted to stop in to say Black Lives Matter. Man, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man. Definitely appreciate the love and support. Thank you, bro. And happy belated born day, man. That's a beautiful thing. All right. I was traveling in Japan back in the day. Was there a language barrier? Yeah. I'm not fluent in Japanese. Like I know very little Japanese, so it was definitely a language barrier. I've been uh, more times. It's double digit. I know. I stopped counting at this point, but I've been to Japan a ton of times, and it's always a lot of fun. I was there as recently as February. Actually, got to go back to finish recording with Marcus D on this Bob Alloy stuff, new album. But yeah, man, it's super dope. The biggest difference between Japan back then versus Japan now is back in the day, I would see foreigners, sure, but like not to the degree that I see them now when I go. Um, it's definitely, yeah, it's kind of surreal. Like, going through certain parts of Tokyo, and like when you're in like Shibuya and the really popular cities, and the amount of foreigners I see now versus what it was like back in the day, it's almost strange, right? Like because I've been there so many times, so it always kind of, I have moments where it's like I know I'm in Japan, but then when I start seeing like a ton of foreigners, where it's like Japanese folks in a particular area make up like half the people in the room or restaurant, that's a bit off-putting. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel more like, in those moments, I almost feel like when I go to, if I'm in like New York and I'm in Chinatown, but I go to a restaurant in Chinatown that has such a great reputation that people who've come there for the first time, they go seeking out this particular restaurant. So you'll see like it'll be mostly Asian folks in there, but then because it's New York, you'll find some folks who find out about it and they'll be in there. So it's like half and half. So there are certain parts of Japan where when I go into these spaces now, that's what it feels like. But when you're in the outskirts, when you're kind of in the more rural areas or a little bit further outside of the city, it's like, okay, this is the Japan I know, and I'm used to, you know what I mean? Let's see. Yo, what's going on? I think this is the latest I've ever been on one of these. Yeah, and for the record, I also got a late start today, so apologies. Hey, peace. All right, what's going on? All right, hope all is well. We gotta catch up soon. All right. Want to go to Japan, but can't bring myself to do it because I'm not fluent enough. Truth of the matter is, Japan is like a lot of countries that have, certain relationship with the U.S. where you can find a decent amount of English speaking folks there. It definitely helps if you have somebody on the ground already. That makes life a bit easier. I would just say if like you still want to do the trip, find someone that you could travel with, and learn what you can ahead of time, and then just take some time to do some research in terms of finding a hotel where the staff is really friendly and can kind of tell you about some places that are foreigner friendly in terms of like the language barrier and stuff like that. And just the biggest thing is just make sure you hit up a major city. You're in a major city, your chances of finding someone who speaks a bit more English are higher than if you just went to a rural area where it's like the countryside and they don't see foreigners as much. You know what I mean? So yeah. Philippines too. Word. Yeah. What are some of the language related survival tips for people who know a little Japanese? No, that's a great question. Mm, yeah, man. So a couple things. One, try to learn like the basics, right? Like certain things that have to do with when you're interacting with people in a public setting, right? Obviously, hi, bye, thank you, excuse me, et cetera, et cetera. Those type of things definitely will help. There are certain restaurants where if you go into more popular restaurants or chain anything, there usually will be a sign that will both be in English and Japanese. So that's very helpful, and that's something to look out for. I would say the biggest thing is when you get there, if you don't have a SIM card that will allow you to make phone calls and give you internet access no matter where you are, just bare minimum, make sure you try to frequent places that have Wi-Fi. Then in those instances, you can use things like Google Translate and stuff like that to help you get through. There's also there's that feature that Google has where you can scan it with your phone and allow that, and it'll translate for you as well. So those are just like some tips and stuff. And then if you got to do certain things on your own, but you're with some folks who are fluent, before you go out on your own, I would highly recommend if you can have certain things written out for you ahead of time, like there's certain key things or information you got to share when you're out and about, and making sure you have your address, like to where you're staying and different things like that. So if you can't say it to the driver, and the driver doesn't speak any English, at least you can be able to show them the address written in Japanese, so that way there's no miscommunication about where you need to go, whether that's you're going out or you're heading back. The train can be a bit challenging to do on your own. I've done it on my own like once or twice. Yeah, that's still a a little bit of a challenge to this day, and I've been going for over 20 years, 24 years at this point. But yeah, all right. Thanks for answering. I gotta go. What do you think about DJ Crush? I used to listen to Crush a lot back in the day. Definitely love some of his tracks and stuff. Wasn't the hugest fan, but I definitely dug. There were certain tracks by DJ Crush I definitely was a fan of. You know what I mean? Whether it was the joint him and Black Thought did together. I think wasn't it Hardware? I think it was Hardware by Black Thought. It was produced by Crush. Or there was something that Black Thought had back in the day. A couple songs, or at least one song that I know him and Crush had done together. Of course, oh man, was that? There's a couple other joints. The name slipped my mind. I think I was more of a DJ Honda fan than I was DJ Crush. But respect to Crush as well, though. You know what I mean? Respect to them both. All right. So real quick, let me throw some quick reminders up here. We'll jump back into more Q&A. Y'all think about your questions. We'll circle back to it. Other than that, after we do the reminders, if you don't have any questions, we're going to keep it pushing. All right. But before I do that, throw this up here real quick. Oh, let me adjust something. Save. Okay. So, per usual, just wanted a quick reminder of different ways you can support the channel. No pressure to do so. Just letting y'all know. So if you want to, you can. You can support via Cash App. You can support via PayPal, Venmo, or the Super Chat works as well. No pressure to do it. Never mandatory. It's always appreciated. But yeah, man, shout out to everyone who supported the channel in the past. Oh, real quick too. Next week, as I said before, is Bandcamp Friday. The official adultish sneakers will be back up, along with a low top version. For my folks who want to be out here, you know what I mean, no socks, or the low cut socks, just living your best life. You know what I mean? If you don't want to do the high top joints, don't worry, we got the low tops coming. You'll see photos and all of that real soon. But yeah, man, so that's coming next week. It'll be on my official website, in the store section. It'll also be available on Bandcamp for you to support on Bandcamp Friday. So be on the lookout for that. There was something else. I don't remember. All right, let's get into these updates. Hold on. Olan, my youth. Olan. Let's see. Switch that. Quick comment. No, I have not. I've seen it on TV. I've never been to an actual wrestling show in Japan. All right, thanks for the question. So let's get this up on the screen. Boom, boom. So first reminder for those who don't know, if you're based in Falls Church, Virginia, you can come and join. Well, if you're based in Falls Church, Virginia, or based in Virginia, period, in Northern Virginia, and you are someone who's new to the music business, trying to make a living doing this successfully, you can join our Substantial Art and Music Business courses, our academy that we have at Crescendo Studios. We've been doing it for a couple months now. Shout out to our students. One of the students came to the show in Brooklyn. That was a dope surprise, but definitely check out the classes. We are right now in the music industry writing section of the courses and stuff. So if you're interested in that, be sure to sign up. You can do so. You can get more information at subartmusic.com or crescendostudiosva.com. All right, let's keep it pushing. Now, for those of you who haven't caught one of the lives before or haven't been getting the notifications about the live shows, this summer I'm doing a tour with Mega Ran and also Shadow, along with the rest of the MPC collective, or a lot of the MPC collective, including Kadesh Flow, O Super, DJ Rockman, and Rise EK, and it's going to be hosted by the big homie Kyle Murdoch. Happy belated born day to Kyle Murdoch. Super dope producer, even better human being. Definitely you want to catch us, man, if you can. We're only doing a short East Coast run, unfortunately. Shout out to those of you on the West Coast and other places who would love to see us live. At some point in time, I'll be making my way back to you. As of right now, nothing's confirmed. So, but let me put this out there. For those of you who are looking to find a way to help get me and some of my partners booked in in your area, it doesn't always have to be a show in the traditional sense, right? Like us performing at a live performance venue or dive bar type of setting. If you are affiliated with a university, right? So for those of you who don't know, I do speaking engagements at universities as well. So if you're a student at a university, or you are faculty at a university, or have a connection with a university that has any type of arts or music department, and they're looking for people to come in and speak who work in those industries, and want to give advice to upcoming students and stuff like that, that's something that I do all the time. So I'm just putting that out there because for example, when I went to Charlotte, North Carolina, to do a speaking engagement with my business partner / wife, the person who booked this is a fan of mine. This is someone who interviewed me many years ago for a project they were doing, and eventually started working at a university, and ultimately ended up booking me to come speak at their university. They booked me twice in the last 12 months. So again, no pressure. You know what I mean? Listen. I'm not here blocking blessings. I'm just letting y'all know different ways that folks can support. And so if you'd like to see me in your area, events like that, or conventions as well in your area, they typically, they typically cover the different things that a lot of these smaller shows that the fans I know would prefer to attend. Those shows don't oftentimes pay as well as the speaking engagements or the performances, or me being a guest at a convention. So those type of things, me getting booked with those, allow me to set up tours a lot of the time and different things, so that way it doesn't end up being a financial loss. So just putting it out there to those of you who may have those type of connections or be in a position to help. Rise K, yeah, definitely has a lot of dope samples. So yeah, if you come out, you get to hear some really dope beat sets. Salute to him. All right, Sub, you looking cool, calm, and collective. How many more albums you got left in you? Also, what's the best way to support music streaming or different source? Dare I say CDs? Thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. And also, thank you for the compliment. That means a lot. I'm doing my best, man. You know what I mean? Trying to keep the stress low whenever possible. And yeah, man, keep myself and these babies off these poles, but yeah, man. So how many more albums I got left in me? I don't know, man. Full disclosure, we're working on new Bop Alloy right now, so another one's coming. I've been thinking a lot more about instrumental projects because it's been a little bit since I've put out a full instrumental project. So I've been thinking more about those outside of the Bop Alloy project. As far as solo releases, I'm not saying I don't have any left in me. I'm just saying at this time, I don't have any. I don't have an idea for what my next solo album, the direction of what my next solo album will be. And if I'm being super frank, if my last solo album was adultish, I'd be okay with that. That's how proud I am of that record. And I know that might be hard for some people to hear because when someone does something you really, really like, the hope is that they do more of what you like. And I'm not saying that I don't plan to do more. I'm just saying as of right now, the idea hasn't hit me for what my next solo release will look like. Bop Alloy is definitely in the queue. It's halfway done. I got some ideas for instrumental projects, and I got an idea for this instrumental series. But until an idea hits me, it may be a little minute, or I'm just say that because I've been at it a while. It is not cheap to make music, you know what I mean? And quite frankly, of a lot of the stuff that I do, it requires the most time with the not the least, but because a lot of what I do is based on my artistic ability, visual and performance. So doesn't pay the absolute least, but it's not necessarily at the high end of the money I currently make. And so, a lot of it is just kind of me making back what I put in with a little bit of profit here and there. So which leads me to what the last part of what you asked. Best way to support me is directly through my website. You go to iamsubstantial.com or you go to subartandmusic.com. The store on both sites are the same. If you ever want to support me, that's the best way to do it. Whether people buy stuff from those sites or not, I'm paying for it. So, but the profits, the majority of the profits that come through those sites go to me. Second best way to support is through Bandcamp. All right, Bandcamp. Whenever people purchase there, I see about 85%, sometimes 90% based on what my sales are looking like. Those are the best ways to support as of now. So if you're a person that prefers to stream, I'm grateful, man. I ain't here to block blessings, but the truth of the matter is, I don't know how much y'all have been paying attention to what's been happening in the streaming world, but Spotify is the top place for music streaming. And unfortunately, Spotify's been changing a lot of the rules, right? Where, they already pay a fraction of a penny per play. But they've recently changed the rules where now you got to get a minimum of 1,000 plays, for a song before you can even be paid. And this also affects songs that say the song's been out for a while. If the song doesn't get 1,000 plays in a year now, that's gonna prohibit you from being paid for that going forward until it does a certain amount of numbers. The other catch they've added to that is it has to be a certain amount of users, right? So they want 500 users bare minimum helping you hit that number, right? Now, for the record, Spotify's not the only company that adopted this method or something similar. Deezer actually announced this before I actually met directly with them, and pretty much told them they ain't shit to their face, because I just told them, I was like, yo, you're asking me what y'all can do to better help me. Where the truth of the matter is, you already know that majority of the plays that happen on all these platforms come from playlists. So if you're not actively putting me on playlists, right, you're not really helping me. You know what I mean? Other than that, it's me promoting y'all and telling people go stream my music on these sites. But fun fact, and I said this directly to them, I don't work for y'all. You know what I mean? I don't work for y'all. I don't work for Spotify. I don't work for Apple Music. I like Bandcamp a lot, but I don't work for them either. So, I'm not killing myself. I'm not throwing away a ton of money to tell people to go listen to me on these platforms. Hey, man. And, to any of y'all who aren't as active, because I seen a lot of new folks on here today, and I'm grateful for that. Thank y'all, because then y'all can get information directly from me, which is a great time to say, if you didn't know, got an album out right now called Adultish. Stream the hell out of it. It's everywhere. Buy it. If you want vinyl, I got that. You know what I mean? It's out right now. But yeah, man. It's these companies, man, like they literally wouldn't have platforms if it wasn't for the musicians who music they use, right? Or make available, and there's benefits to it, making it widely available so people around the world can access this music. However, the amount of promotion, the amount of money that people invest with minimal return. So, for example, right, me giving y'all insight. This is one of those, hey man, blame it on Frank EC, right? Frank asked the question, you sit me down this rabbit hole. So for those of you watching right now who don't know, I teach music business classes. I teach art business classes as well, but mostly music business classes. So I spend a lot of time dissecting this information, helping other people navigate their careers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's a lot of people throw money away in this business, right? For things that, like they tell you, folks will say, like, this is how the game is played. So the expectation is that you pay really, really large amounts of money oftentimes, not just to make the album, but to promote it. But then the streaming services, because you don't own these companies, so they can change the rules at any given moment. They can change how the platform works. They can change the different algorithms that exist on these platforms. So one second you're up and your streams are through the roof, everything's popping for you, and then all of a sudden they make a change. Now, why they make this change, there's a lot of different theories out there. But part of these changes is so they have to pay out less. They already don't pay out a lot, but once people like me as independent artists figure out how to navigate this in a way where it's making us a decent amount of money, then the next thing you know, they change it. And so then I got to pivot. I got to learn how it operates now, and I got to come up with a new strategy on how to get me exposure on the platform. Do that, master that, keep the money flowing, and then they change again. Do it again, blah, 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 and then they change again, right? So, it's not, these platforms weren't designed with the independent artist's best interests at heart, because Spotify, as I've said before on Substantial Weekly, Spotify, 70% of that money, 75% of that money goes to the major labels. So even if you're a fan who's like, yeah, I don't support major label artists or major labels, blah, blah, blah. If you stream on Spotify, yes, you do. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, I feel like I'm going down this rabbit hole, and this is not where I intended to be right now. But I'm just I believe in having educated consumers. Pardon me. Educated consumers are really important, man. Like, it's important for us to know what it is we're supporting, how these things work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Especially in a day and age where people are definitely like, yo, I don't support people who do this, that, and the third. I don't support businesses that don't care about the planet. I don't support this. I don't support that. Well, you got to be a more informed consumer than you've ever been, because nowadays it's like, it's like me meeting somebody and they was like, yeah, I don't support Disney. I'm like, that's almost impossible nowadays, son. It's almost impossible nowadays. If you watch any media, it's really hard to not support something that's owned, that isn't owned by Disney. To support something that isn't owned by Disney, because, yeah, as far their reach is far, fam. So anyway, I'm all over the place. Get back to these questions. Thank you, man. Tommy says there was a lot of finality in Adultish project. I agree. Thanks, man. Looking forward to Bop Alloy, though. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Proud to play a small role in making Adultish happen. Classic record. Thank you. Hey, Tommy, man, you've consistently been a great supporter, as have many of you on here. To this day, man, I might not have the largest fan base in the world, but I definitely got one of the best fan bases in the world. and y'all are a part of this community, and I'm grateful. You know what I mean? Thank you. Adultish definitely doesn't get enough hype. Yeah, it's one of those things like, easiest way to get it more hype is for me to spend more money on it. There are some things happening behind the scenes that I'm doing, but again, the way this industry works is like, for me to get it more seen, I got to spend more money. And just so y'all know, like, I raised nearly 20 grand via Kickstarter, right? And then pre-order sales and all of that. But the truth of the matter is, man, I probably spent like somewhere upwards of at least 25K. I wouldn't be surprised if it's close to 30 on things related to Adultish, right? Not just the making of the album, but even putting on events, purchasing the merch, all of these different things. And so, I mean, I just need y'all to understand that, like, when you see an artist at the level I'm at, right, which in a lot of people's eyes isn't even at a super high level. Somebody like me is spending 20 to 30K to make albums. Okay? 20 to 30,000 almost anytime I make an album that is like a solo album. My instrumental albums don't cost me as much. Less features, less people involved. It's still some cost involved or whatever, but like the moment I do anything where it's like I'm building it like a brand, where I got the merch, I got a tour associated with it, this, that, and the third. Yeah, man, that's a $25,000, $30,000 project, easy. Like Sacrifice back in the day, that project got more pub than any of the projects I've done. That project cost us about $40,000 in 07 and 08. 07 through 09, we spent like at least bare minimum 40 grand on that project. You see what I'm saying? So, I'm all about ROI, return on investment, which, a lot of times people don't talk about these things when dealing with art. But like when we're talking about art and music, for me, I'm always thinking about how can I do this in a sustainable way so I don't end up hating this thing that I love. And so if I'm continuously losing money, then you're not going to see me keep making music, because that's not a sustainable way to go about it. And I got other responsibilities. But I continue doing it because first and foremost, I still love doing it. But also I figured out ways to do it that keep my costs down. But unfortunately, keeping my costs down also means that less people know about me. And it's not because I'm one of these people that don't believe in taking bigger financial risk. It's just, responsibility is a thing, man. Like, I gotta take risks that minimize the potential damage if this project doesn't do well. Like, if it doesn't really pop off amongst my core base. And that's who I mainly keep in mind. I'm not making albums with the intent of, this is going to be the one that blows me up, right? Like, I'm not saying that ship has sailed. I'm just saying that's not my focus anymore, simply because, like, I understand how much it costs to do that. Not so fun fact for y'all. Literally, man, when Tone Deaf sent me the mix of Salt and Pepper, I damn near cried. So I get on the phone. My voice was cracking and everything when I was talking to him. He was like, man, you all right? I was like, bro, F you, man. And he laughed. He was like, yo, what'd I do? I was like, bro, you did an amazing job mixing that record, man. I'm really, really proud of it. But if I'm being frank, I'm a little sad. And he's like, damn, yo, why you sad? And I was like, because, bro, I know that I don't have the money to spend on this to make it what it could be. You know what I mean? And that is unfortunate. It's not even that I don't have it, right? Like, I can get it in different ways, but if I invest all of this money in it and then it doesn't see a significant return, what's the likelihood I'm gonna keep doing that? You know what I mean? To do it, to go through the process that way. So these are the things like any artist has to consider when they're doing it, man. You got to do this in a way that's sustainable. And so unfortunately, that's a real thing you got to consider. And I will say, though, there are some things happening behind the scenes right now still related to Adultish. We're not off of this Adultish train yet. Obviously, we know Adultish 2.0 is coming. But I had a really great meeting yesterday with a film director about some more videos. That's going to be for certain songs, the original versions of songs, some of the remixes as well. So we're not done working Adultish yet. There's more to come. All right. Darn streaming services sound super sus, dirty. 100%, fam. Sounds like the best way is to purchase your streaming album through Bandcamp. 100%. If you back away from music, you have a career as a teacher. I mean, yeah, and it's, listen, man, I definitely enjoy being an educator too. There's certain unique opportunities that have been afforded to me because of the combination of me being an educator and being an artist. So I'm not saying that I don't think I'm ever not going to do music. Let's be clear. But one thing I've been thinking about a lot is like, just kind of making stuff when I feel like making it, and then doing these compilations where truth of the matter is, like somebody said in the comments, I think it was Warpath, he was saying how Adultish doesn't get enough hype, right? And but I think the unique space that we're in right now is anything can happen nowadays with social media, where I can revisit old content and do something to make it new. And then the truth of the matter is, a lot of how songs blow up nowadays, part of it has something to do with the artist, but a lot of it's y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for example, I'm gonna post I'll post it in my stories later, but I just passed 40 million plays on TikTok, right? My music has over 40 million plays on TikTok in TikTok's short existence. 30 million of those plays came in the last week and a half. Okay? That's crazy, fam. Maybe not 30 million. Let's say like over 20 million, 25 high end. So over 25 million plays that I've gotten on TikTok, of the 40 plus million I've gotten, came in the last, well, not the last week, since about April 1st. Okay? And that's all because someone used the song from me and Nujabes. They used Think Different in a video. This person who did it had a big account. Then someone with a bigger account used the same song. Someone with a big account, and then another account bigger than that. I think the biggest account I saw it being used by had like somewhere between 20 to 40 million followers, right? And so, and you know how it is, the moment this audio catches fire, now a bunch of people are just reusing the audio to make a video either that's similar or completely different. And so, yeah, I mean, I can't really control things like that. You know what I'm saying? I've made an effort financially to try to make that happen for some other songs. Like I did that for Your Greatest Weapon. And yeah, it definitely boosts the amount of plays that it got, but it didn't like take off the way that this other song took off. And so the way to Think Different took off recently. But I'm well aware that, it's possible that something old becomes new, people share it and stuff. So yeah, man. So these ideas to do these compilations where I take like a particular theme that's common, just like what I did with my soundtrack for fatherhood. Finding a theme that pops up in a lot of my music, pulling those songs, putting them together on an album, maybe make one or two new songs that deal with that same theme. This is a great opportunity for me to reintroduce songs of mine that fans skipped over for whatever reason. Sometimes it's because they don't like it. Sometimes it's just because they like the song, but not enough people are talking about it that eventually they don't return to it as much. Because whenever they're, whatever reason, I ain't got time to be figuring shit out for other people. You know what I mean? But that's how it plays out. Peace. I appreciate the love, fam. Let's give you these dates, and then I'm going to get out of here. So, I am at BlurredCon from July 12th through the 14th. We'll be vending that whole weekend. We'll be doing Sketchpads. Sketchpads will be happening 3 p.m. on Saturday the 13th. That same day, I'm making a quick appearance. I'm leaving BlurredCon for a little bit because my homie does a festival at Crescendo Studio, so I'll be popping up there for a little bit. just to support him. Shout out to the homie Roland Mail. And so yeah, man, you'll catch me there, and then I'll be back at BlurCon to perform in the evening along with the NPC Collective. So that's happening on Saturday night, Saturday the 13th. Then after that, we will be at Kung Fu Necktie, I believe. We'll be in Philadelphia. Then we're going to Brooklyn. We'll be at Elsewhere Zone 1. And then we'll be at Metro Gallery in Baltimore on the 17th of July. On the 18th, I'll be at Richmond. I'll be at a venue called The Camel in Richmond, Virginia. Now, those dates that you see that are in Raleigh, North Carolina, the reason why there's an asterisk there, that will only be Mega Ran and Shadow. So I won't be at that particular show. All right. Yes, but as I mentioned, I'll be at BlurCon, which is the graphic you see at the top. Then August 2nd through the 4th, I'll be at the 30th anniversary of Otakon. I won't be performing my normal set. What I will be doing, though, is a beat set, because we will be doing sketch pads, but not just our normal sketch pads. We're doing super sketch pads. For those of you who don't know what sketch pads is, it's a live art and music lounge where basically you have an illustrator drawing live, and then you have a beat maker / producer playing instrumentals while the person's drawing live on a large screen. We also have art materials that we give out free to the audience, and we have cosplayers acting as figure models. So we'll be doing that. We'll be doing the super version of Sketchpads, super Sketchpads, which basically means that, man, from the time they open, so like from noon to like maybe early evening on certain days, with the exception of Sunday, there will be multiple artists coming through, drawing almost every hour while it's open in Artist Alley. And there'll be beat makers playing tracks under them throughout that time. So, yo, it's going to be fire. It's going to be a super good time. Definitely want to come out and check it out. We'll also be having some new merch there as well, so look out for that. And then I just confirmed I will be at Conjutsu again this year. That's also in Virginia. So BlurCon is in Arlington, Virginia. And then Washington, D.C., that's where Otakon will be. And then Conjutsu is happening in Fairfax, Virginia, I believe. All right. But that is that. If I'm not mistaken, that should be all the goings-ons. So, yeah, man, on that note, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. We are closing in on 11,000 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. Be sure to hit the like button, share the content, watch the content. Shout out to those of y'all who are really enjoying the video of my band performing live in Brooklyn. Got more clips to share, so look out for that. This past week, man. Oh, Cartoons is on tour right now. Go check out Cartoons with his band live. Had the pleasure of going to catch the concert in DC at Songbird with the homie Javier Starks, and it was a really good show. So if you're a fan of his music, just soulful instrumental music and soulful, like kind of like neo soul vibes and stuff like that, definitely go check it out live. It's a great show. But yeah, on that note, man, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all have a great one. Take care of yourselves, man. Have an awesome weekend. I'll see you soon. Talk to you sooner. Peace.